Can you believe that the 120/80 number, the one all doctors swear by like it's a verse from the Quran, might actually be toxic for the elderly? A lot of specialists will tell you right from the start that this golden standard is for 20-year-olds, not for someone who's 70. As we age, our body's physiology changes completely, and forcing blood pressure to stay at that low number is like making an adult wear baby clothes. Not only does it not help, it actually causes suffering and illness and throws the body's systems out of balance. Now imagine you have a garden hose that's become stiff and brittle under the sun. To get water to flow through it, you have to open the tap more. Makes sense, right? Our blood vessels become stiff in exactly the same way as we age, losing the elasticity they had in youth. An elderly person's heart has to raise the pressure to push blood through these stiff vessels and get it everywhere it needs to go. If we lower the blood pressure with medication, the blood won't move at all and won't reach its destination. So this high blood pressure is actually a natural reaction. Have you ever noticed why hip fractures are so common in the elderly and why they keep tripping? The main culprit isn't the heel. A lot of times it's those blood pressure pills that are forcefully prescribed. When they suppress blood pressure with medication, not enough blood reaches the brain. As a result, as soon as the person stands up, their vision goes dark, they get dizzy, and boom, they fall to the ground. These falls and bone fractures are much more dangerous and deadly than the high blood pressure that doctors unnecessarily scare you about. Maybe your grandfather's forgetfulness and confusion isn't Alzheimer's at all, and they've just wrongly labeled him as having dementia. When blood pressure is forcefully maintained at a low level, the blood simply lacks the necessary power to fight the constant pull of gravity and circulate upward to reach the brain. When the brain doesn't get enough oxygen and nutrients, it starts to shut down and doesn't function properly. A lot of what is called brain fog, lethargy, and even dementia-like symptoms in the elderly is simply because their brains are thirsty and starved for blood. In the past, doctors had a golden rule that nowadays seems to have been mostly forgotten by many. The patient's age plus 100 equals normal blood pressure, so if you're 60 years old, a blood pressure of 160 millimeters of mercury, or 16, wasn't considered strange or scary, and no one used to panic about it back then. Old medical science understood very well that an aging body needs higher blood pressure to stay alive and on its feet. Of course, I'm not saying you should just let your blood pressure go up to the roof, but the point is that old standard was much more reasonable than today's insistence on the number 120, which is turning everyone into patients and making them feel weak. Do you know what the kidneys need to filter blood? Only and only the right amount of pressure. The kidney is like a filter that needs fluid to pass through it under pressure so it can clean the blood and remove toxins. If you lower an elderly person's blood pressure to 110 or 120, the kidneys won't have enough force to remove toxins and filtration won't happen. By excessively lowering blood pressure, we're basically causing the kidneys to fail and raising blood creatinine levels. After that, the patient ends up needing dialysis, all just because of a number. Have you ever thought about who profits from selling all these blood pressure pills? And why have the standards changed? Standardizing blood pressure numbers for everyone, whether old or young, just means more regular customers for pharmacies and more profit for big companies. Unfortunately, the modern medical system, instead of looking at the patient's actual condition, just wants to match the numbers on the monitor to what's in the textbooks. Even if the patient feels terrible, they'll say, "Great, the blood pressure is regulated." But the patient can barely walk and their quality of life has dropped to zero. If your blood pressure is 120, but you constantly feel cold, lethargic, and have no energy, it means your body is screaming that this pressure is too low for you. The biggest mistake is ignoring your body's symptoms and just focusing on the digital number on the blood pressure monitor. If you feel energetic with a blood pressure of 140 or 150, your vision is good and you don't feel dizzy, it means your body is happier at that pressure and is functioning properly. So you shouldn't fight against your body's nature. This blood pressure is normal for your body and your best state is set at this pressure. You might not believe it, but cutting out salt is not always the solution for high blood pressure, and sometimes it can actually make things worse. Many doctors still recommend that you eliminate salt. A lot of times, the main problem is that the blood has become thicker and its volume has decreased, not that the blood pressure is actually high. Instead of waging chemical warfare on your body, often proper hydration, that is enough water and natural mineral salts like sea salt, is a better solution. This effectively helps to regulate blood volume and works to naturally balance and stabilize blood pressure without the potentially harmful and unpleasant side effects of traditional medications. Have you ever wondered why the blood vessels become so stiff and constricted? Maybe your body is crying out from a deficiency of a vital mineral. Magnesium is that magic element that relaxes blood vessels. Just like a professional masseur, when too much calcium builds up in the vessel walls and makes them hard as stone, magnesium comes in and relieves that tension, because it removes calcium from the blood vessels and takes it to where it actually belongs, that is, into the bones. Eating dark leafy vegetables or even soaking your feet in a tub of Epsom salt water, these can lower your blood pressure much more gently and naturally than any chemical medication. It has plenty of other benefits too. There's also a spicy, fiery secret in your kitchen that you probably don't know about. Red pepper or cayenne, contrary to what many people think that it raises blood pressure, is actually an expert regulator. This spice works wonders because it balances blood circulation. If your blood pressure is high, it brings it down, and if it's low, it brings it up. Cayenne opens up the tiny blood vessels and allows blood to flow more easily. So instead of being afraid of its spiciness, know that it's an energy bomb for your cardiovascular system that helps balance your blood pressure. Have you ever noticed that your blood pressure at home is completely different from what it is at the doctor's office? This is called white coat syndrome, meaning the stress of seeing the doctor and the blood pressure monitor itself causes adrenaline to be released and your blood pressure to go up. A lot of times the medication prescribed for you is based on this emotional and artificial spike in blood pressure, so never check your blood pressure in a rush or when you're stressed. Take a few deep breaths and find your real number in the calm of your own home, not under the intense gaze of the doctor, which itself is a source of stress. So the final message is, don't be afraid of your blood pressure reading and don't assume you're sick for no reason. This fear that's been planted in the minds of the elderly needs to be removed. We have to accept that slightly higher blood pressure in older age is actually a defensive and protective mechanism for the body to survive. So instead of living like a lifeless zombie with a standard blood pressure of 120, get to know your body properly and stay lively and energetic. And don't let numbers on a piece of paper ruin your quality of life. Thank you for watching this video. Please give it a like. Leave a comment too so this video can reach more people. Also check out these videos for more information. Until the next video, take care.